we have come today to show solidarity with the innocent civilians and to give a loud and clear message to the international community that where is your humanity? Where is your humanity, and how can you allow for something like this to occur in the 21st century? People saw the genocide in Bosnia and they said never again. They make mention of World War II and the crimes of Adolf Hitler and the Holocaust, and rightly so they say never again. But where has humanity gone today, that even the world powers, rather than stepping in and stopping the oppression and stopping the killing of innocent babies, why are the world powers complicit in this? Why are they arming Israel for further violence and escalation in the Middle East? We are simply saying, give the Palestinians their right to self-determination. Give them the right to return. We do not want an ongoing Nakba. Free Masjid al-Aqsa, the third holiest site of Islam. We are calling for freedom of worship for everyone. Know very well the history that it was the second Khalifa of Islam, Sayyidina Amir al-Mu'mineen, Umar al-Faruq, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that when he liberated Jerusalem, you know what the great Amir al-Mu'mineen did? It is known in Jewish tradition that Umar allowed the Jews to worship in Jerusalem, and he protected them from the oppression of the Christians. Do you know further in history what happened in Spain and in Portugal? Muslims, Jews and Christians coexisted for hundreds of years happily under Islamic rule. What happened after the Inquisition? When the Christian North reconquered Spain and Portugal, Muslims were tortured and oppressed and killed. Jews were tortured and oppressed and killed. But where did the Jewish people seek refuge? They went elsewhere into Europe. They went to the Ottoman Turkish Empire. It was the Muslim Sultan at the time who gave the Jewish people refuge to settle in the Turkish lands, in Bosnia, in Turkey, in Istanbul, and he allowed them freedom of worship and freedom to live. This is the Islamic legacy. When Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi, rahimahullah ta'ala, the Kurdish warrior, when he liberated Masjid al-Aqsa and the Holy Lands from the Crusaders, he forgave the enemies. He allowed everyone freedom to worship and freedom to live and let live. This is the Islamic legacy. Why is it today that those who have power are denying this basic fundamental right of Muslims to live, to worship freely? Every year we see disturbing videos coming from Masjid al-Aqsa when Muslims are fasting, when Muslims are praying for Salah of Taraweeh in the Masjid al-Aqsa, the third holiest site of Islam. They are being harassed, they are being assaulted, they are being beaten, they are being tortured, they are being arrested. For what? For simply gathering in the house of Allah and worshipping Allah Most High. We ask the international community to show restraint and to show some sanity, my dear brothers and dear elders. Know that Islam brought justice to the Middle East. Islam, under Islamic rule, Palestine was peaceful. Jews, Muslims, Christians coexisted peacefully for hundreds of years. There was no issue. Live and let live. Tolerate and let others live and let them be. How can you justify the inhumane, oppressive measures taken by the Israeli government today? Violations of international laws and basic violations of human rights. This is absolutely unacceptable. And currently the Palestinian people, they have been dispossessed of the land of their ancestors, the land of their forefathers, and they are now today living in an open-air prison. Can you imagine a foreign race coming into Britain and placing all the native people, the indigenous population in Cornwall, blockading them, blocking off the food, the water, the electricity, and then saying, this land is ours, it is not yours, you cannot speak, you cannot resist, you have no rights. How would the world react to this? How would the world react if this is done to any nation? It is totally unacceptable. Apartheid did not work in South Africa. Apartheid will not work in the Holy Land. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the dehumanization, the treating of the Gazans and Palestinians like animals. We cry out to human beings to every human being to show some humanity and show some decency. How can you treat your fellow humans like this? Only the other day, even columnists in Israel, yes, columnists in a Haaretz newspaper, they highlighted this. There are voices within Israel who are speaking for humanity and speaking against the Israeli regime. But the regime is just set out on its bloodthirsty campaign, which will only exacerbate the situation and only worsen matters. This is a continuation of the colonial oppression of the Israeli regime. We saw what Britain did in the Americas with the Native Americans, putting them on reserves and stealing their land. What happened? We saw in Australia when the Aboriginals were dispossessed of their land, of their ancestors. We thought we only read this kind of stuff in history books. We saw what happened in Africa, the slave trade. We saw around the world so much oppression. But we thought today there are human rights. There's United Nations. There's Amnesty International. There's human rights organizations. Maybe there is going to be some regard for human life and human dignity. But no, today as we stand here, we are witnessing a genocide folding before our eyes. Our international community, our leaders of the world know very well, power is with Allah. And Allah is the ultimate king. And He can take away kingdom any moment. And He can grant it to whoever He wishes. We ask you, for the sake of humanity, to show some restraint, show some compassion, have regard to human life, and show equality to everyone. Every human life matters, not just if it's only in Ukraine. Then it is self-defense for the Ukrainian people to stand against an invading force. But for the Palestinians to do this, you can't say the same thing. This is double standards. This is hypocrisy.